Glorious evening, everyone. This is Apostle Erica Monet Glenn, and today is December 31st, 2025. So, as we know, we're here to the end of the year, and I am here to share the unspoken details in regards to my story. A few months ago, I shared about how my inheritance was stolen, how family members and people they hired were basically trying to take my life. And now I want to share some details that the Lord needs me to provide. So I'm going to do this video. Make sure you catch the full video here on YouTube. And then not only that, I'm going to be sharing receipts, meaning photos, text messages, whatever the case may be, to prove what it is, what's been going on, especially when it comes out to my impersonator, the person that they hired to actually try to impersonate me. So I actually just want to start from the beginning. You know, when I was born in 1988, finding out that my father's older sister, which is Janice, she was Janice Collier, but she's divorced now, so her name is Janice Glenn. Again, I'm gonna share her photo. She actually works for the state of Illinois. She sits in a governmental seat, unfortunately. Basically, I found, how can I put it, this year alone, I found out that the family I was born into had some occultic ways, meaning they were into witchcraft, witches, warlocks, the Freemasons, all these different things, okay? So while I was in my mother's room, she was one of the ones who got a reading on me. So she found out information about what my destiny was, didn't like what she heard, and ever since then, even when I was in my mom's room, I was a target. Okay, so a lot of it, especially since everything's been coming out this year, it started making sense because, like, throughout the years, of course, when it comes down to my relationship with my father's side of the family, she, when me and my cousins was growing up, she was like the best auntie. Like, she would buy us everything, like give us little things. Like, she would pacify us with things. But once we got older, once I got older, became a teenager, things basically changed, especially when my mom had to put me in her custody when I was 15 years old, because my mom started going through some mental things. But like I've been sharing throughout the years, and I believe I shared recently when I gave kudos to Sammy, who shared his story about his, and he mentioned his mom is a targeted individual. My mom's a targeted individual. She's the first targeted individual I ever met in my life. So growing up, before I turned 15, I would say my freshman year in high school, basically, I was 13, 14 years old. I started seeing different things take place in her life because she was dating this one guy who was into some occultic things, and he was mad because, unfortunately, she got pregnant by him. She didn't want to have children. She was taking medication. And me and my brothers, because I'm the only girl, middle child, and I have two brothers, we were older. So she was like, I don't want any children. So she wanted to get the child aborted. He didn't want to give her the money. And basically, one conversation they had basically a debate, and he told her, "You're right where I want you to be." So he tried to trap my mom with a baby. She ended up going to her younger sister, Gina West, and basically got the money from her younger sister, who paid for the abortion. He found out about it, and after that, that's when he put her on the hit list. And then, just to be transparent, like, my mom, just to rewind just a little bit more, my father died when I was 1. It was due to domestic situation. He was abusive to my mom. The last fight they got into, got into a fight. A gun was drew. The gun shot him. He died. So I was 1 year old. So that's how that happened. But now fast forward in it. So she met my younger brother's father when I was 2 years old. So she got with him and everything. They had him, and then they got a divorce when I was 9 years old because they got married. So they got a divorce, and then I would say she was single for, I would say she gave herself maybe a year or two before she started dating again. And the guys she met, I mean, they weren't for her, clearly. But I mean, she didn't have men in and out the house. So there was only 2 guys she dated after that divorce. One guy, he became physically abusive too, which was crazy. I remember the last night when she kicked him out completely, and he had hit her, and something had happened, and I was just like, this is crazy. So basically, that was a traumatic situation. She got rid of him. But then that last guy she dated, that's when she got pregnant by, and he didn't like me. He had a thing for my brothers. He was cool with them. But it's just something that, the attacks that I experienced in my life is also similar to the attacks my mom experienced. So I'm like, come on now. It's not a coincidence. But at the time, I didn't understand what was going on. So after she got an abortion, he found out about it. That's when things started deteriorating in our lives. That's when we, because we we're from Chicago, Chirac, you know, but that's when things started happening in an apartment complex. It come to find out he went to high school with some of the people that lived in our building who was trying to get my older brother affiliated with the gang, but then they started doing different things to my mom. So it became very, it was a bullying situation in our own apartment complex. So my mom was like, look, we gotta go. So it's like she had to break the lease and we had to up and go. And we were at that place for years. So my mom didn't have the history of just up and leaving. After that relationship, come on, y'all, hear what I'm saying? After that demonic relationship with that man and doing, like, he tried to trap her. He was a freaking narcissist. She didn't do what he wanted her to do. She broke free from him, especially with that, because that child would have tied them together, you know? So she broke free from him. He didn't like that, so it was just like he put her on a blacklist. Okay, he blackmailed her. He put her on a blacklist and everything. And after that, that's when her life really started deteriorating. You know, she was thinking like, okay, I can move in with siblings. So that's when we went with her younger sister Gina in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Things that didn't go well. It was like her siblings. Because one thing about a targeted individual and people and money, they can buy just a person with the wrong intentions, a person with no backbone. You can buy them with anything. So basically, a lot of family members on my mom's side and my dad's side was bought with money and corruption, and they started turning on her and us. Okay, so she thinking like, okay, these are my siblings. You know, this is my sister. We could go, you know, I was always, you know, there for my sister. So I'm sure she'd take me and my kids in. These are her niece and nephews, and things would go well. That's my younger sister, right? No, things didn't go well. Like, it was just like everywhere we went, it was just deteriorating. And keep in mind, my mom didn't have a history of this. She kept a stable job, okay? So I'm also taking this time, too, to actually defend her name because many people are like, oh, no, my mom wasn't like that. We grew up in a stable home. She was at the schools. She talked to our teachers. She made sure we did our homework. She made sure we were respectful. She made sure she taught us manners. All these different things. She kept it 100. She had an open door policy. We talked about everything. So anything, any narrative that any one of you have heard of my mom about being just not fit, not taking care of us, it's a lie, okay? Especially if it came from Janice Glenn, because she's the ringleader on my dad's side when it comes down to all this mess that's going on, or that's been taking place since I was in my mom's womb, okay? Because of jealousy. But yeah, so just speeding it up, things deteriorated, so that's another reason why my mom placed me with, unfortunately, with my father's older sister, Janice Glenn, who was Janice Collier at the time when I was 15 years old, because it was like we were constantly moving around. Her the last place we had to move was Green Bay, Wisconsin. Not Green Bay, Wisconsin, because that's where her youngest sister lives, but to Newport News, Virginia, with her older sister, Denise Cunningham now. So her and her husband, George, and then her son, Andres was there, and Larry. Look, I'm putting out names. So we were there, and we were just there for a short while. And I remember one time they got an argument because my mom made, no matter where we went, even if it was short term, she made sure we went to school. Like, she didn't have us just sitting at home doing nothing. She was big on education, making sure that she was taking care of her business when it came down to us, making sure we got our education, all these things. Again, my mom was fit, a fit mother, okay? So basically, all those hours throughout the day while we're at school, we don't really know what's going on with her because she was at my aunt's house while my aunt was at work, because my aunt, I believe my mom's sister Denise is still a nurse for the Army, and that's how she met her husband George. So they're Army connected, Army base, basically. So they were at work, and things were just deteriorating even when we got there. So one time I remember I was there and I witnessed this. I remember this argument like it was yesterday. I actually had to defend my mom against her, not just against that sister, but against her sister Gina as well, because it's like they were attacking verbally. And my mom, no matter what, she's always been there. Holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas was at our house. When she was married to my younger brother's father, they made sure they bought gifts for everybody. Okay, even when she became a single mom, she still made sure that she tried to get gifts for everyone. So my mom was always there for everyone. So she's thinking people are going to be there for me and my kids because I was always there. If somebody needed something, they could call me. You know, if somebody needed somewhere to stay, they could call me, because just rewinding a little bit, her older brother Andrew, who's supposed to be my uncle, he came to live with us. But he was supposed to be there for a short time. Something happened where he wasn't getting on his feet, and we were moving. And my mom was still married to my younger brother's father at the time. So we were moving, and she told him, like, hey, you can't come with us. So she had to put her foot down. And not only that, he took over my room. Like, she allowed him to stay in my room. My brothers, they shared the room, so I was on the couch. But it was like, anytime I tried to go in my room, play with my toys, it was a problem. And she was thinking, like, okay, you're here temporarily. You can't just, like, ban her from her own room. So it was just like, always, just throughout the years, somehow family was always trying to push me to the side, take hold of my stuff. take hostage of my stuff. Y'all following the story? So he was trying to take hostage stuff from my room. He didn't want me to come in there like to get my stuff out of my toy chest to play with. You know, I was a kid. So my mom, like, once we moved to our new place, she was like, you can't come with us. And he was pissed off about that. And I'm telling you, that's when their relationship deteriorated. Again, she was always there for him too. You know, when she was growing up in Cabrini Green in Chicago, one of the worst neighborhoods was not like that now, but years ago, it was well known for the crime, the killings, and everything. She's not the oldest, but she was like the mom and her siblings. She made sure the house and everything was taken care of because her mom was always at the club. She was out and about. And just to be transparent, me and my mom's mother, my grandmother on my mom's side, my maternal grandmother, like she never really liked me. She took a liking to my brothers, but never liked me. So it wasn't just my father's side when it came down to witchcraft, but the same thing goes to my mom's side. Okay? But my father's side is the ringleader. And there's some connections because now I'm speeding up a little bit. My father's side, there's a family member who was connected to my mom's sibling. So basically, I have a cousin who's a Glenn on my father's side, somehow connected to my mom's, one of her youngest brothers, Calvin. Like, they were friends. So it was like somehow they were always intertwined. Y'all following it? And now that especially as I'm talking to you guys about it, none of it was coincidental. None of this, it was just like they were just always plotting. Okay, so as I got older, my mom put me, you know, like I said, with my aunt when I was 15, due to everything she's going through, because once we left Wisconsin, Wisconsin, Newport News, Virginia, that was it. My mom was like, I can't keep doing this. So she placed me with my aunt, placed my little brother, who's not related to my father's side, placed him in the same, because at that time, my older brother was living with my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, my father's mom. Because all the moving around, and he was in his senior year of high school, and there was just different things going on. He's like, I'm just going to go move with grandma. So she allowed him to do that. So she put my little brother over there, but his father didn't live too far, so he was able to eventually go live with his father. But we all stayed in the south suburbs of Chicago, like not too far from each other. And before my mom placed us in custody of the family members, she made us promise, make sure y'all are close. Don't be like me and my siblings, all spread it out, all spread it apart. So it's just like, that's one of the things she made us promise. And unfortunately, it happened, especially with all the things that I'm about to talk to you guys today about. Okay? So I'm already at 12 minutes. So I'm about to do a part 2. Hold on one second.